Good morning. So once again, request access, that would be this tab is where you'll go to request access, fill out basic information. If you see on the backdrop, there's a Pacifica logo in the plan check. And most of you guys who are on this actual calls know of Pacifica or worked with Pacifica in the past. So we are, of course, a part of what we do is your plan review, your inspections, whether material testing, geotech. So this software was not created by a tech firm out there who have no idea as to what we do, right? So this was created by experts in the field, and we've been testing it once again for the last 2 years before now we release it to the public. So it's a simple, very simple system to use. You go request access, we send you back an email that gives you access. You get a page like this. You'll only have your own project. You'll get to go in, click on the project, add a new project, which is very straightforward. What we just released this past week was we separated renovation and single family. So whether it's a commercial project, a new commercial project, you just go put the project information, select this information the best you know. If you don't know it, it don't really matter. We're not really using this data in the model as we speak, at least for the state of Florida. But still select the best if you know it, the height, if you have it, plug it in. If you don't have it, it is what it is. Once you hit submit, it will bring you back actually to your project page. And then you can click in your project. Once you click in, it will give you a page like this. Very straightforward. For your new commercial projects and for your commercial renovation projects, everything has to be uploaded by trade. So you'll upload your mechanical all combined in one set. Electrical, plumbing, architectural, and your structural. Those are all individual set that you need to submit as a combined set. In the email you'll also get, it will point out that for your architectural set, you need to also include your life safety and your general sheets included in your architectural set. So just as an FYI for you guys. And each one you upload, you're going to see once you select architectural, you pull your file and you upload it. It takes few seconds for each file to get uploaded. Once you upload a file, I want to show you the next screen, it falls off the list. So if you attempt to upload an individual sheet, you're going to realize very quickly that if you did an architectural, you don't have an option to upload architectural anymore, right? And then at that point, we'll reject it from our side and give you the option to re-upload it. So if you did upload the wrong sheet, if you just shoot us an email, typically here, we approve them before they go through for the AI review. And this is 100% AI, 100% automated for the whole review process. Once again, very, very simple. Once you upload them, you will see the first one that says waiting for admin approval. Once we approve them, then it changes it to in AI review is going to be the comment that shows up. I'm going to log in from the admin portal. I just want to show you how instantaneous this is. If you look at one of these, let's look at electrical. This is what our sheet looks like from the admin portal. So it tells you one is published, waiting to be published. Here, the moment I hit approve for electrical, for example, hit approve. Okay, that's on the admin side. The moment you refresh this, it now says in AI review, as you see, right? So now is when it kicks in to start the review process. And typical most of these reviews, depending on the size of the project, if it's a single family home or build out residential, we're talking about an hour, 30 minutes to an hour, maybe an hour and a half for the actual review to be completed. Once the review is done, as you will see here, for the same project, the review is completed, but it hasn't been published yet. So typical, we'll download it, we'll check it just to make sure. And then before we go on, we hit the publish button. So once it's published, so this is once all the reviews are done, it's completed, but as you see, you can click. So that's what I was just talking about on the admin side, where the review is actually completed, but we haven't hit this button as yet. So once we publish it, then it changed from completed to published. So as you see here, they are not clickable. I mean, on this one, they're not clickable, but over here, they're clickable. And the moment we hit publish, you'll get an email saying, hey, your file has been published. One thing to also point out, you don't need to upload the complete set of drawings. If you are a structural engineer from and you only have structural drawings, the way the system is created, you can only upload your structural drawing. Or if you're plumbing engineer, you can only upload your plumbing drawing. You don't have to have the whole set for the review to be completed, because each of them work individually as individual reviewers. Actually, I do want to point that aspect out. And then I'll go through what the output looks like, what the comments look like, how folks are using it. But one thing I do want to point out about the system, if some of you guys are aware, with House Bill 683 that got published or that got approved as House Bill 683, we're now authorized to use the software to do our actual review because we've proven to the state that it's a lot more consistent and accurate than a regular human or person doing the actual review. So that's it for House Bill. So it's and no, it's not like building department can stop us as the private provider if it's used as a private provider. They can't stop us to say you can't use this to do your actual review. We still have all of our reviewers. So even as a private provider, folks are using us, we're still going in and doing the review, like auditing or checking it on the back end before we actually publish the results to the clients. This is one of our projects that they've been using it for. So this is used from both the contractors, the designers, whether you're MEP and owners. So we have certain contractors we're using in different aspect. Some folks are using it from the pre-con aspect, where at the moment they have the actual set of drawings, they're loading them into the system, getting the output, providing feedback to the client if you're a contractor. Owners are doing the same thing when designers are sending them their 50% CDs or DD sets, they're loading it in the system and providing feedback. I typically point out that you can use it for CDs and early CD stage and DD, but your comments are going to be excessive, right? So as long as owners are aware of that and the designers are aware of that you might get 80 comments for a plumbing review on your DD set. Most of the time, the designers are going to say, yeah, we know we're going to get 80 comments, and we know we might address 20 out of that 80 on this phase, and then address them as the plans keep on going through the whole development cycle. GCs are using it to load the plans in there before they go for GMP to go to owners and say, hey, we have 80 comments here. You address them now before we sign the GMP, or you address them in the future as a change order in R5s, right? So you have different ways of using it. One designer, actually architect, said to me, they don't like the idea that the GC has access to the system, because then the GCs are going to use it against them in the future once the project starts. And my response is, well, if you guys are all using the system, you all have the same even playing field, because now this tool makes everyone an expert in plan review, right? Because you load the plans in there in a few hours, you get your feedback, your actual comments back within a few hours. You guys, will give you guys an idea what the output is. This is the output. And typically when we're the private provider, and some of you guys already know us from working with us in the past, we'll do the review, we'll tell you the sheet number, we'll tell you the code reference, and we'll just say this is what's wrong. So typically these are the three, let me see if I can enable editing. These are typically the three items we provide when we're the private provider, right? We'll give you these three separate items. The sheet, the code section, and we go next and we say, this is what's wrong. The system takes a step further. It automatically plugs in the actual code description. I personally do not like this column because I think it's a lot of writing and reading, but everyone seems to like it. But what this column does, it tells you why this sheet did not meet this code section. So this is like the reasoning. This is like the reasoning as to why they did not meet. And we spend so much time going back and forth in comments with designers and owners as to what they should do to fix it. So then this for column gives you a step-by-step. So for every comment that's generated, it gives you a step-by-step solution as to what to do to correct it. And then if you scroll over, you'll have another column that says for folks to respond. Whether it's to respond to us or the architect is the one who hired the MEP team and the architect is lead and they run it through there. And they provide this. It's a nice output file that you can send out to the team for everyone to use, and they can collaborate into the actual system. So this is what the output file looks like for all the trades, whether it's architectural is the same. Mechanical, all of them are the same exact format. I think we did electrical before. Let's speak at structural. One thing I do like about it with structural, which have been somewhat very interesting. I think structural, apart from City of Miami and a few jurisdictions in Miami, is the most overlooked review that's done at the state level, right? Because when you have a license for mechanical, electrical, plumbing, building, right? Structural is the one that's most overlooked. City of Miami does a good job with their actual peer review system, right? Where they kind of force folks to look at it. But we work in so many jurisdictions where even where the city's actually doing the actual review. And let's say we're doing permit expediting and they spend no time looking at structural. So the one thing I do like about the system, it will pick up if you're missing rebar, missing detail, you name it, it's going to pick it up, right? If you don't have enough reinforcement in a footing, it will call it out, right? So those are some of the items that I do like, right? Because we would assume that since the structural aspect of the building is what holds the structure up, right? There would be a lot more emphasis on this element in the state, which to be honest, it's not. So just to point that one item out, it does a really good job on the structural review. Very, very detailed. Most owners are not used to this. Most folks are not used to the level of detail that they get from an actual structural review. But it really goes into detail on the structural element. I'm just seeing if I see anywhere. But as you can see, these are some very detailed comments from the structural side. I'm just seeing if I see. Yeah, so ultimately, just as an FYI, the structural aspect of this is pretty solid as well. So just as an FYI. So it's not just MEP building. The structural is pretty on point. All right, questions. I see a few questions before I jump over. One quick sec. Oh, why free? I'm gonna go through that one big item, right? It is free. Folks think the model is still getting trained. No, the model is 100% trained. We don't need folks data to train the model, right? We have unlimited access to the data. We, as a provider, we have all the joins, we've had all the review. We also do permit expediting, so then we even get a ton of reviews that maybe Pacifica never performed the review, what the city did, but we have access to all the comments and the response in the back and forth, right? So data is not what we need. We have all of that internally that we've used for the last 2 years. We've used it on most of our projects for the last year for our own internal reviews. It's now we're providing access to everyone. So the logic why it's free. It is free because we're first to the market. That's item number one. We're first to the market. Two, if everyone uses the system now, once you try it, there's no going back. There's no going back to waiting weeks or months for a review to be done. We tell designers, for example, if an owner has use related group, for example, they have 5 jobs going on at any given time, right? 10 jobs. But let's say they have 4 jobs going on at 8 point, and they hire 4 different designers. They have 4 different designers designing these 4 different projects. 3 of the designers use your system and 1 don't. And let's say they didn't elect to go private provider for plan review, they're going with the building department, right? So 3 of them use a system, got their plans cleaned up as they're designing, they go submit for permit, they now might get 10 comments compared to 300 comments between mechanical, electrical, plumbing, building, structural. So 3 of them now are down to 5 comments, 10 comments when they upload their plans in the city. That other firm who submit and they get 300, 400 comments, more than likely related will never use them again, because in their mind it's like, hold on, like, what are you not doing right? So that's the difference with, in my mind, this is the way forward. So either folks use it or they don't. But right now, since we're first in market, we're giving it away for free because we want everyone to use it. Once it's plugged into their system, whether folks are using it as QA, QC, or a third-party firm like us are using it as a private provider tool, where once the review is done, we just go stamp, once we do our audit, right? We go and we stamp the drawings, provide our affidavits. That's kind of, how folks will ultimately use it. But that's the whole logic for the free. And if you notice from I want to show you what the client portal looks like. There's one thing I need to show you with this. Once you upload your documents, even if someone gets access to your site, right? They can never download the files that you actually uploaded. So once you hit that upload button, it disappears. So your PDF, the only folks who have access to your PDF is on the admin side. To give an example, so here we can download the PDF that you actually uploaded, but on your side, it's gone. All they'll have access to is the comments, right? But not the actual PDF file. So just as an FYI, from a certain level of safety aspect from our side, where if you're not an admin, you just don't have access to the database. We don't really have that. Someone asked, yes, this is not shared. Someone asked if the data is shared. No, externally, no. So and the reason why I point that one item out, we're not a software firm who is just some random software firm who said, oh, here's a bright idea, let's go develop this system and then we can sell it to the highest bidders and all the fun nuance. No, we developed it initially for ourselves, right? This was developed for us internally, and we've seen the need to give it to everyone else, right? And how it can accelerate both the permitting and the plan review process. For most folks who are here on this on this call, if you've worked with us, our business model with Pacific is different than everyone else, right? We don't invoice until you start vertical construction. So there's projects where we're doing plan review and permit expediting for a year or 2 years. We don't see $1 until they start going vertical. So this only helps us get to that end line to start construction. So if we give everyone access to the system, it helps us on the back end, right? Because then we get to start construction faster, which means we can, because we start construction faster, we can start invoicing faster, right? So we're the only consultant who tell owners, no matter which owner, which project, there's certain projects where we're $200,000-$300,000 in the hole, waiting for them to start construction, whether it's the plan review or the inspection, but plan review or permit expediting. There's projects where we're waiting 2-3 years just for them to break ground and start vertical construction so we can start invoicing. So this is just one tool that helps us get to that finishing line or the start of construction faster so we can start invoicing. And our intention is to make sure that you're so comfortable using it time and time and time again, that after a few months, you're like, all right, I have to go this route, whether you're an owner, you're a contractor, you're a designer. This is going to be the way forward. This is the website. If you just go to request free access, just fill in your name, email, phone number, company, and select these drop down and hit submit. It should only take you a second. If you guys want a one-on-one demo with your team, you want us to come in and do a presentation, just let us know. We'll happily come in and do our, whether lunch and learn or one-on-one. And yeah, just give it a try. Reach out to us directly. My contact information is over here. Thank you all for joining us today.